Welcome everyone to another after work clickbait and stuff live open source video here on our more random live channel. Time flies. I can't sort of not believe myself that it's already freaking 4.5 years live here on YouTube. Of course, in total 25 years doing open source and running our amazing Linux distribution. Many people here already know the story of Rock Linux NT2 and 25 years of history of one of the earlier Linux distributions. And yeah, 4.5 years, I said it before, I had a little bit on the slow cooker, a little bit not up and done, but only the only the virtualization embedded and core package subset maintained. So it took, I can't believe it myself, just like looking on the numbers, doing some management stuff and so on. It's like 4.5 freaking years. Certainly a pandemic and getting our first child helped. That 4.5 years, like somewhere like 2018 or whatever. It's like ironically can't even on YouTube click on the at least like videos so it lasts. It's only constant change and regressions. Yeah. Of course, if you look at this 20 years, right, not 4.5 years, it's like, did I say clickbait if I would clickbait 20 years later? But yeah, this is absolutely mind-blowing. I can scroll for those while, of course, my epic thread-ripping Ryzen is rebuilding the ISO. A whole buttload of freaking changes. Absolutely mind-blowing with such a small team, and of course now our data AI, 16,000 clickbait 16,000 revisions. It's already rounded down 16,500 easily. Absolutely crazy. Updated all the abandonware that is KDE in GNOME, Firefox architectures, all the Rust enablement, all the reverse engineering bits and pieces, DDR5 controller. This scrolled fast, freaking Alacrity, and the key repeat rate of the freaking Sun serial keyboard. To the credit. Yeah, the last days, wait a second, this is not even, this can't be all. Why is this stopping here, or is it in, no, some of this isn't all. Why is this not scrolling? Somewhere this is strange. What? Is this a bug or what? Can you not even trust? Maybe, here we have that. So yeah, probably it's a connection time, but actually, let's scroll that again, because it's certainly, probably because I was preparing the video. So yeah, absolutely mind-blowing numbers. The last days I even spent not even live streaming all the random nonsense already. Got a little bit boring even for myself, which is the more amazing that you should like and subscribe. I updated the cache files, many of them, probably thousands, yeah, over thousands of updates. Of course not single atomic stuff, I grouped them at bundles of hundreds, 500, 600. The cache files are automatically sandbox track dependency information, so with an upcoming release, now finally, yes, we are freaking done. TM, it's only constant change integrations, of course. Modulo, some quality assurance testing, like more. Was the only constant, the only substitute for testing is more testing, of course, with some more real hardware testing, getting the power PC out, undusting this workstation, and actually freaking booting this stuff on real hardware, because of course we implemented support, at least the scripting, building scripting and so on, for grub2 on Spark and PowerPC, and like the usual stuff you run it doesn't boot, debugging and stuff. Yeah, absolutely insane amount of work. People always think like, yeah, this is also like this. Some of this commits, 16,000 commits. Some of them are like a commit with 100 packages of KDE and GNOME updates here and there, as you just scrolling thereby with the non-single line release numbers. With that being said, of course, now my epic, nearly thread-ripping Ryzen 7950X will be busy some days building all this stuff. And of course, when I just live started the video, I found already one regression. I fixed the GLS lang libdir CMake install path, and of course that broke the toolchain bootstrapping. That's like, yeah, of course. So what is next for this stuff? Of course, this will build 2 hours. I will not live stream this tonight. It's basically just some quick hanging out here while we do all the freaking work all day, all night long every night. So next will be I will see. I will have to see how much time I really have to live stream. Maybe I will actually live stream a little bit less, just to focus a little bit more on more serious work, like earning money for paying the rent and stuff, buying our kid a new bike and all this stuff of real life requiring all this freaking money that Linux distribution obviously doesn't pay for. But then, of course, we will of course maintaining this distribution because it is the only Linux distribution I personally would want to use. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but my best friend agrees, so I can't be that far off. And with this massive amount of work, at least most of KDE and GNOME builds again, and of course we will continue to fix this. Just not know that we put this crazy amount of work into this the last 4.5 years live on YouTube. Of course, in a better state now. We basically only need only daily need to not let it bit rot again, so that freaking KDE and GNOME fully works. But then we have hopefully time for more fun stuff, like writing a freaking microkernel. I still have to see, of course, my vaporware thing of actually not the greatest fan of a monolithic single address-based Linux kernel anymore. It's just the most full feature that we open source have. I have to see how much time I can really put into that, because obviously companies, except maybe SpaceX, Tesla or Volkswagen, not the most are willing to pay for microkernel like QNX. So I have to see how much time. Maybe it will be more like educational videos in the beginning anyway, raw bare metal and virtualization example programs. I need to think that through. There are some things that I can actually sell and license in our company. Obviously, don't delay. Look this stuff up today. So maybe a did I even type this right? Of course not. Let's go exact scan is like, yeah. So actually what we would have need for in our company is a better language than C++ and Rust. So maybe I follow that super successful and not as well paid path as Rust, and because I said before, I'm not the greatest fan of the statically compiled stuff. Yes, there was Java and all the Android Dalvik and other Android runtime. But I ideally would want something 90% smaller and stuff, and more portable and so on. We will see, because that is something you could actually sell game studios and car entertainment and self-driving car and stuff. We will see, and maybe I will find time for editing more proper pre-edited videos, like tech review of the latest and greatest epic and thread ripping and stuff. What I will also focus more on, I've actually a couple of things that I want for some years, some bigger things that are a little bit annoying to support in T2. So I will probably tackle some bigger things, quality of life improvements for myself, because obviously I'm personally not running KDE and GNOME, Sway or Hyperland or just freaking virtual terminal console are, even without syntax highlighting as regularly seen here, enough for me. So yeah, that's basically the summary. We will see. I have to see. Maybe I should actually do actual plan and not do this overly random and boring open source packaging live streams. It's just what it takes to ship an operating system that is a Linux distribution these days. So maybe also close the balcony door. So yeah, not too many questions, not too many, not the most people tuning in today. So basically, triple head. Look behind you, a three-headed triple head monkey. That was the other live stream with the kindergarten in the office, more successful than we are done. We can release soon. I also said, so the other live streams, I made also a live stream compiling a dozen architectures from ARM to PowerPC Live that some people watched. I don't need to recreate every live stream. Ironically, I wanted to find it some days ago with my 800 or whatever plus videos. I didn't even instantly find it. So much to you made so many videos, you don't even find on videos anymore. How many videos? Yeah, 886 here, and some usually more. The irony is it's like, yeah, just a tiny little YouTuber approaching 2,000 videos. Absolutely, user created 2,000. Oh yeah, this is older. Yeah, some mere 2.5 million video views. Nothing big. When was this? Yeah, 2000. I created this later. Yeah, so 2018, something of that sort. The irony is not only I'm fully aware that making product reviews, aka the Steam Deck Riser stuff, like actually freaking product reviews, latest and greatest, not paid advertisement, some shit. So basically the crazy stuff is and obviously I have this, right? If you go to my more successful videos on my more main channel, like basically everything is more successful than the Linux distribution, even on YouTube. I expected more people to subscribe. Popular videos, yeah, disassembling stuff, Sony Vario, other repair, mini disc, you name it. And the craziest thing of all, hey, here, like the PS3 obviously is jacked in. The craziest thing, do I want to lift it up? No, I don't want to lift it up. No. I got some amazing hardware over the last year, so actually I accumulated already quite some archive that I, with all the Linux fixes, didn't even have time to film, so theoretically I probably should actually allocate a month or two to filming a proper hardware homage, Computer Chronicles video of outstanding tech lying around. And that's the crazy stuff, right? Everything, not only, like people always ask me, yeah, what should they do and stuff open source. I said it before, right? It's extremely hard to earn money with open source, even on freaking YouTube. And as seen, so basically if I would make like I done 4 years ago, the security debriefing, weekly security debriefing stuff, which I probably should, I wanted to, New Year's resolution, wanted to continue more regularly. I only managed a handful of those because no time. So what I want to say is, like, basically everything on YouTube is obviously more successful. Driving the world with a VW camper van, sailing the world, having an outdoor homestead, or doing product reviews. Actually, I modded something recently. I even modded something recently, didn't even had time to film it. And that's the crazy stuff, right? So yeah, probably I will try to do a little bit more successful stuff. Grow the more main channel with some other tech commentary on a more weekly basis. That is probably more successful than this random stuff. But it had to be done if we want to be competitive in this highly competitive Linux distribution scene with over 1,998 Linux distributions in the meantime, soon breaking through the 2,000 Linux distribution mark. Of course, we need to have our basics straight. I even updated LibreOffice and fixed some dependency nonsense and stuff the other day, which I don't even randomly live stream anymore because even I find it too boring. But yeah, leave in the comments below of the summary what you like and dislike, what you would like to see, except microkernel, which obviously I also at times did this questionnaire already to test the waters. Sometimes, of course, I'm interested in some feedback of like why Signal doesn't freaking work for me as reliable as I would hope it would. But yeah, it's, yeah, to summarize the 4.5 years, cheers, it's freaking a lot of work, not only to freaking live stream, but to actually do all the mostly unloved and undervalued work of keeping all this stuff building. But yeah, it's done. It's we have a very few. I mean, the craziest thing is, I'm saying I'm done or we're done, and that is actually a little bit of an exaggeration. There are still some corners of KDE and GNOME, let alone some other undone and vintage packages not building, but we're mostly done. At least you could emerge Kate and gedit now, which 2023, even that is a dependency nightmare. Yeah, but we're mostly done, and basically wanted to say I will try to focus on the next big things. also in our country, but also on this YouTube channel. And the crazy stuff is, and that is why I'm obviously not stupid, and realizing that there is not that much money in, as there are approximately 2,000 Linux distributions, there are obviously equally dozens of real operating system kernels, real time and microkernel and stuff, including QNX and so on. And I'm obviously aware that that is the start. It's basically the story of my life, not only maintaining an unsuccessful little Linux distribution, which pro tip might not be the best life choice. And starting a microkernel from scratch is obviously as much a dream as it has been, is obviously also not the best life choice, especially with Redux OS around the corner, which I'm not so, I appreciate the rewrite in Rust and somewhat microkernel. But between 2,000 Linux distributions and hundreds of operating system kernels, it's a tough call. I need to think this through, whether it's only YouTube tutorials of OS development or we do something more real, because it's just so freaking, like, even if we would make the most stable, high performance and amazing code quality microkernel, even that would most likely be next to impossible to sell to Tesla, Volkswagen and stuff. I've tried similar things, I said it before, including embedded Linux to Sony and so on. Also with AI, I mean, if we talk a little bit more general stuff, maybe we actually get some more views while we watch our stuff scrolling by. Actually, where is my... and today I was Today I actually first brought my kid to bed and then started this live stream. Amazing pro tip. So at least I don't need to watch it this time today. But what was now my point? Kernel, microkernel. All right, I wanted to say, so with the next big thing being, of course, the next big thing is not microkernel. That shit has sailed since the 80s. Just most people didn't adopt it because they want performance, and security vulnerabilities. And the only substitute for performance is more performance and more security vulnerabilities. Like with a freaking JIT compiler in your Linux kernel. Amazing design choices. And the next big thing being AI. And the crazy stuff is, maybe actually get something out. Also live at this time trying to put the wrong headset on. So where did I have the microphone? I hope I had the microphone somewhere. People appreciate the nice stream with my kids. That is highly appreciated. So the crazy thing is, I played with neural networks long before they were cool. These are not the right magazines, but so basically the German era. It's like freaking 20 freaking years old, right? 25 freaking years old. Man, that was not even the freaking euro, this was doing Deutschmark. Electronic stuff and C++ users journal, right? The time before the big internet. And I remember my neighbor and we played with neural networks long before they were cool. Even I made a previous video. I have this self-built sound card. And Motorola, like basically all of YouTube here. It's 65K, 56K. What do you even freaking Google? Do they find this? No, they don't find this. Of course, this AI doesn't find it if you mix this. Yeah, here the self-built. Well, yeah, self-built, but CT magazine article. And that was, of course, sure. It's the edge of. It's of course not the largest neural network, but on like 56,000 Motorola DSP, it's obviously too small and too stuff. But that is all the regrets. is it really regret? Well, at least we managed some things. At least we're selling freaking software and the freaking Linux distribution. I mean, how many people of the 2000 Linux distribution can say they have a freaking Linux distribution and freaking software that sells better than the Linux distribution, which is obviously sad. But so yeah, with neural networks, you could recognize some stuff obviously with just some thousands of neurons there. Why does this fail? Thank you very much. But my point is, is there even still a point to waste the second half of your lifetime developing a microkernel when the next big thing will not be a microkernel? And so yeah, that are actually the real question. That are the real questions. And probably I should think that through a little bit. That is the difference between, people always ask, what should they learn first and so on, which by the way, why does this freaking fail? And here, don't ask me how to get started with open source. Ask yourself if that's actually what you really want to do. That is interesting. What did we break here, Kling? Why does this wanna build with C++? That is rather, or do I have here some, maybe don't tell me I have something misconfigured in this build. That comes in fully running this automated. But yeah, don't tell me I have a Kling for some reason. Of course I have a Kling for some reason. Yeah, I probably tested something that is, wait, kernel C compiler. That actually, okay, that's obviously not ideal. Maybe we should, okay, let's just build it like this, doesn't matter. It is not too much build time. I can wipe this build tomorrow. It's like we're building a freaking 7950X that build can be redone in parts of 2 hours build time. So yeah, probably I should think a little bit business savvy. Some more business savvy and actually think how to get a millionaire like Elon Musk and not just write a microkernel for the fun of it, because that are the real questions you should ask yourself. Not like how can I get started with kernel development, but can I make a living with it? And so you can always work on that. That is a big what is the English? Sometimes I want to say German word and then I don't find the English translation. Like discrepancy. That's a big mismatch of impedance mismatch of wanting to be kernel developer but not being able to make big money with it. Sure, you can always, well, and that is the saying, right? Sure, you could always find a job at AMD and Intel, but you don't need to waste your lifetime first becoming Linux kernel developer to get a job there, right? And the crazy stuff is, maybe even the non-Linux, I don't know what they pay, but it wouldn't surprise me that other core developer positions at Intel and AMD for their Windows drivers pay better. But if you have inside data, leave in the comments below. Probably it pays better to be some developer at Apple than at Red Hat or SUSE or where are the others? AMD and Intel. And then also, truth be told, right, all the 100,000 Linux developers cannot all work at Intel and AMD. And that is what I always found the mismatch of, hey, we can do some open source, but then in the end, the few jobs. And of course you can always work, there are like 10 or 100,000 companies in the world that do open source stuff like web hosting and stuff, but you don't need to become a Linux kernel developer to work at Hetzner or all the other GoDaddy and whatever American United Internet. I obviously know more the European or German ones, or like Google, right? Although obviously, sure, you can always get the jobs in at Google or Facebook. But that's also the thing when people ask me like, why do I not work at Google? Because I didn't want. So I disclosed that some years ago. I mentioned it already a couple of times. I had some talk at Apple. They kind of probably wanted to buy my company or me or my company for their OCR stuff. In the meantime, I probably can say this. I already was holding parts of the NDA up in camera. The camera probably like 10 years later, that is what they released now with their smart photo image select thing, which obviously we have some similar products for that, because the NDA was reading something like discuss something recognition. Where I have the NDA there somewhere of the meeting we had. I also visited Google while I was there, and I had a friend at Microsoft. But the thing is, I never also by like why am I could have been taken money from Apple. Probably I think Apple was probably pretty pissed that I was not totally thrilled and over the moon and stuff to be thrilled to work for them in the United States. Don't really want to get shot there and stuff and commute all day long with the car and stuff in Silicon Valley. That's not my lifestyle, simply, and probably also maybe a smart YouTuber's life tip of think through what you really want to do, what is your lifestyle. Partially I at times regret maintaining a tiny little Linux distribution for 25 years. At the end of the day, maybe it still makes me more happy than having worked at Microsoft or Apple. Yeah, that being said, I should still think through what are the bigger things. And so with AI, we were tinkering with AI long before, like basically freaking 25 freaking years. Time freaking passed so freaking fast. When we were like 16, and yeah, back in the day there was simply not the compute power, right? There was a Pentium 120 within this ISA card to run the DSP stuff. And sure, you could recognize some stuff. We also tried this later when we had like a 600 megahertz Athlon. But so back in the day, you could not really recognize that much. And I believe I probably should have studied that more. But from what I remember, the speech recognition stuff, like I even made a video, right, some years ago, because I find it so hilarious that 5 years ago, Siri and Google Assistant stuff was not running locally. And probably Google still doesn't. While Siri, do they have that in the meantime, or did they announce it and have it soon or whatever? But obviously I had on a 120 megahertz Pentium or 200 megahertz IDT WinChip, something of that sort, IBM VIA Voice, and later Naturally Speaking, Dragon Naturally Speaking. Made some YouTube videos, summaries there on the more main channel. And neither was it super amazing. I mean, it was pretty mind-blowing, but not accurate and snappy enough to use daily for me. And to my knowledge, they were not neural network based. They were more like statistics based of not running, because it would probably be even slower. So that those speech products from 15 and 20 years ago were probably like more old-fashioned based, like basically like the OCR, and even our OCR still is. So our OCR is not using neural networks for performance reasons. And like in the meantime, you probably could, like, but then you would need a GPU, and we have embedded use cases with customers where we make our living, where that is run on servers or older servers or embedded devices and so on and so on. But yeah, so basically to brainstorm here while we watch our build, and now that I see that, so probably I would have had more cache file updates. So basically, I could do another day, like basically the last night I did some builds and excessive builds here and committed all the cache dependencies. And now I was wondering why some C++ errors looked strange, but like pro tip, like read the freaking error messages, which sometimes even I don't do. Probably could have had a couple of more cache files if I would have had. But that means that probably all of Qt and KDE built was Clang, to my surprise. Anyway, Oh no, it didn't, because I built in the change root. No, I built with GCC. Anyway, so yeah, the next big things. And so basically that is what we, maybe also the open source developers as a whole should keep more in mind, not always like, and that is also what pisses me off so much, right? We have nearly 2,000 freaking Linux distributions, and you don't need to blame me with this, like Rock Linux was only the 24th or whatever. So basically T2's Rock Linux succession is like only Linux distribution number 24 or whatever. Maybe one day I should count them, or maybe 32 or 48, but not 1996. And also it's one of the more unique ones, right? Not like just some Ubuntu or Arch Linux and stuff and so on, but like some true like Debian, Slackware, and whatever Red Hat was based on. It's like one of the early true, like not based on something else, and true unique implementation details, not like just another deb or RPM distribution. So yeah, so the open source developers, open source developers should much more think in bigger pictures and not like forking the 2,000 freaking next Linux distribution and the second dozen of desktop environments, right? Why do we not have the year of the Linux desktop? Because of 2,000 Linux distributions and 24 desktop environments, where none of which are so amazing that I would wanna, that even I with the Linux distribution moved to Mac OS for 10 years. Like none of them, right? I find all of them lacking, bloated, slow, and that is ridiculous, right? We have probably nearly 24 of the major ones, like if we still count GNU-step and stuff, which also barely gets updated. And so yeah, that is just obscene. This is, and also programming languages, right? I understand, like even myself, if we would work on some programming languages, because AI is too filled now, and I mean, yeah, basically everything is filled, right? So that's the question. What do you always want to do when there are already 2,000 alternatives? Which in case of, or you could even say this for our scanning software and OCR, just that we did this for macOS because all the people, all the contacts, all the industry-wide contacts kept begging me in 2004, like, hey, you have this Linux stuff. I did the, and it's the same scanner access now easy. You have a man page for my own stuff I have. So yeah, I did this sane A-Vision scanner, and A-Vision is one of the biggest scanner, or it was, I don't know if they still are, but at times they were the biggest scanner vendor, which I didn't know, which nobody knows because they are like Foxconn and stuff, OEM for building scanners for all the big companies. And so yeah, over 2,000 scanner open source, which I barely earned anything with. And so basically everyone was begging me for Mac software, and this is how we ended. This is also the crazy stuff, right? I wanted to do Linux, embedded Linux, desktop Linux, server virtualization, and the most money we made with stuff people were begging me for, hey, can we not have this for macOS? And that is, yeah, these are the life-changing events, and not always like, hey, I want to do Linux distribution, or I want to do microkernel, or yet another programming language. I mean, obviously, yeah. So, just some thoughts after work while watching my computer compute and my threads to rip. I hope that helps some people to for their life choices, and also, I mean, basically, I said this also at times. Getting a little bit annoyed with quite some things in this world, and always joking I'm not only opening a beach cafe or actually building my off-grid cabin somewhere in some mountains, which annoyingly also is not even freaking allowed by building codes in most states of the world, including most of Europe, which is like, why can I not just buy some green land and build there my wood cabin? Anyway, maybe I should migrate next to Canada, if it wouldn't be so freaking cold and bug fly season. Anyway, but aside from that, not everyone needs to be super successful, right? And I would actually even say maybe I'm more happy than Elon Musk, because he obviously just is going crazy in his head all day long and has not even time for all his dozen children that he has everywhere. So hopefully being more happy, enjoying time with your family, kids, and that is certainly more important than building it another big effing rocket or so. So yeah, not everyone needs to be, and not everyone needs to be successful and rich, and not everyone can be successful and rich, right? Not all the 8 billion people on this planet can all be Elon Musk's, and hopefully most of the 8 billion people are mentally more sound and happy. And ironically, a lot of people are more happy. Like, and basically, I'm also like running a company. Even a small company is freaking a lot of freaking work, right? On top of running Linux distribution. And there are days where I'm wondering, like, just having a quiet job somewhere at Siemens, Bosch, Volkswagen, Audi, or so, just doing the daily stuff, and going home and closing the PC and not caring about your employees, your tax papers, your software, your bugs, your everything, your payroll, your government licensing issues. Just watch Louis Rossmann. And yeah, because people also often like, hey, the tips are going freelance and self-employed and stuff, and like, truth be told, it's freaking a lot of work, and there again, not everyone can be successful, not everyone will be successful, and even we don't sell our Linux distribution much. Yeah, so that are the evening thoughts here, staring at our compile jobs, which probably I should have run verbose. So where's the freaking new Rust version? And I didn't even know it's Rust language. Ah, of course Rust language, whatever. 8 years ago. Hey, it's only 8 years old. 169, latest version. Amazing. Yeah, just some thoughts, just some brainstorming, because always people ask me that, including what's your font, what's your Linux distribution, and what's your desktop environment. How to become self-employed, successful, and how to create your own Linux distribution for the PS3 and SG-Octane, yes. So, that's basically the thoughts. If you watch this later, either a comment now, or if you watch this later, I usually try to read the comments, although sometimes they disappear, super annoying. You're right, you go to YouTube and the comments already disappear in the YouTube comment nirvana. Comment there. Hope companies go to the hype train and use T2. PC Go. Discrepancy. Did I say discrepancy? I just probably struggled with the pronunciation. Working at those companies is terrible, especially if you're more senior engineer. So much mumbles. You mumble a lot. Think you should improve. Yes, sir. I will train my second language. I will train my second non-native language even more for your YouTube enjoyment. I hope you share, like, and subscribe. Maybe, hey, if you Patreon and stuff, maybe I can afford English courses. If other comments, if you want more just money, just make software as a service, make a SaaS, which is better than current products out there, education hospitals, libraries, hard for one person, good development business idea and execution. Yeah, I mean, the crazy stuff is that so much shitty, most software is shitty, right? Even Mac, I mean, the crazy stuff is, I had, growing up with DOS, and using Windows 3 a little, and then 95 was horrible, and then I found, thankfully, Windows NT 3 and 4 were actually not too bad. I used them at work back in the day. But I found Linux, I used Linux since then, And even I, with absolutely zero Apple and Macintosh background, like other people, I knew nobody with a freaking Apple Macintosh when I grew up as a kid in Germany, in Western Germany. They had Commodore 64, Amiga 500, and then some PCs. Of course, of some Amstrad. I think once I saw an Amstrad PC, whatever, or CPC or something like that. And so I didn't see any. Maybe the first Macintosh I saw was 1996 in Berlin, at a relative of a friend we visited, and that even with this background, even with this growing up with PC, Turbo Assembler, and Turbo Pascal, and then Linux, I actually enjoyed using Mac mostly. It was quite a relief to the chaos that was Linux desktop. I basically used a Mac desktop from 2006-ish to 2016, 10 years, until it went downhill. Until macOS went downhill. We still have Macs here, obviously, for our Mac software development to keep the bills paying. And Mac is so much. It looks ugly now. That is, of course, subjective. But it looks. It is sure you can always. I would argue that this flat design took so much soul out of it, and it's just so simple that it could even be like a 90s DOS environment, so plain and untextured. But it's also full of bugs. Even Finder, Safari, there is even peak bugs, like on my Apple Silicon Mac the other day when I plugged in my USB-C dock thing on my main desk. The mouse wouldn't work, right? Only if I plugged the cable out, I could click on things. If I plugged in the display, I couldn't click on anything. And there are similar bugs all over the place. Mail became complete garbage, unusable. Like Apple Mail was one of the most efficient mail programs I could work with for 10 years. Now it's complete, like nothing really works anymore. The search is horrible. Even when the search works in Apple Mail, the UI is horrible. And so on and so on. And everywhere I go, people ask me, everywhere, like a bank, I go there, software doesn't work. And when I'm joking, I know that from work, software developer, and I know this, IT never works, right? And so often people, I was at the lawyer the other week, they ask me everyone asks me if we can't make freaking software for them. And seriously, we have some lawyers even in New York and Germany and so on with our scan software on Macs, obviously. And the state of the software is so horrible that people's big customers ask me seriously if we could seriously develop lawyer freaking software, or doctors. We have so many doctor customers, medical customers, especially in Germany. And when I'm sometimes on site just because it's on the way, or to analyze some issue, because actually it's cheaper. It's also amazing that if you cannot reproduce it anywhere, right? So a lot of customers in Germany get special service from us. If I can easily get there with combining it with other stuff, I even go on site and analyze some USB issues with scanners, especially we have 100 freaking scanners in our QA storage, right? And the last years we barely added scanners because we already have too many freaking scanners for our freaking scanner software. And then I'm already happy when I don't need to buy the scanner, I don't need to store the freaking scanner, and I have a customer in Berlin or a closer area here or other parts in Germany where I might be, and I can just use the chance. The customers are happy, I don't need to buy the freaking scanner. And even freaking doctors ask me if everyone tells me the software is so the medical software is so horrible. Can we not also make medical software? That is the state of software. Lawyer asked me, can we not make a lawyer database, whatever thing, and so on. It's administrative building even asked me when here where we have the office, where the last time I went there for some stuff. Even this managing director of this apartment block even freaking asked me that the apartment management software is horrible. Like he literally told me they tried 10 different freaking softwares and all sucked. Like that is the state of software in 2023. Can we not get into the business of building administration software? It's like, it's not really my dream job, but somehow everyone keeps telling me all software sucks. And so that is absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, obviously the running gag is German overpriced SAP of competitor of the American, I believe, Salesforce and stuff. Horrible software, right? Expensive, horrible old-fashioned stuff to use and so on. And obviously, like, how can always, sure, it's big management software, but how can this freaking software cost millions and even billions, right? I'm pretty sure I read SAP migration stopped. Is it, some stopped it even and cost freaking, was it netto? SAP. Was it, oops, did I mistype this? Was it not netto or whatever? I read in the freaking newspaper, it's like, yeah, half a billion, like, and this is like, nobody pays for freaking open source or proper microkernel or other amazing stuff, but big mega corporations, I thought like maybe Netto or Aldi, yeah, here Haribo, Lidl, Otto and Co. SAP, here's even Wirtschaftswoche, yeah, I don't make this shit up, 2016. A long list of difficult and cancelled SAP projects, and it's like, it is, there's already the running gag in German computer scientists, like only really wealthy, like only a big mega corporation is only really successful and wealthy if it survives an SAP migration. Because obviously it costs billions, right? So like it's so difficult and everything's so super expensive and stuff, and like how can you even freaking manage, like if your infrastructure software costs $500 million or freaking billion, it's like how can this even be a real thing, right? German postal service flopped SAP migration. It's like, imagine you make, like, they pay SAP for stuff they cancel. Like don't you want to have freaking customers who pay you 345 million for that later they don't even freaking use it? I mean, such projects I need myself. I mean, that is obviously how you become millionaire and billionaire. 200 million, what is that here? Edeka, biggest German food chain, complex business logic and whatnot. A budget of 200 freaking million, but they spent 350. And are this not amazing projects? We estimate allow the 200 million, but surprise, it cost you freaking 350 million. Why not even freaking, like, you could be happy that it worked at the end, right? Yeah, Lidl, I said Lidl. I don't know why Google doesn't find it. 2015, REVS, SAP, offensive, unified warehouse system. Nearly €500 million they stopped the project offer. Like, such projects I need. Like, hey, Lidl, Edeka, Otto, Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, do you not have €500 million? Don't you want to fund a German microkernel and like safe programming language? Like, hey, for $500 million, my company will develop you a functional and secure microkernel and safe memory borrowed checked language that doesn't suck as much as Rust. And then I still have tips over for coffee, beer, and cheers. Crazy. Yeah. At T2, you get not only videos, but the whole freaking news distribution with now approaching 6,000 packages. 60,300 or so. Yeah, 25 years N63 is only the version, subversion history. Before that was patches and tarballs. And last but not least, how many packages do we have now? Probably more than successful SAP projects. 5,143-ish, plus minus working copy changes. Yeah, you see all the other stuff builds now. I would hope most stuff builds. It's basically testing. I wanted, the problem is I used this change root sandbox to update all the cache files, so I had there some 4,000 packages installed. So I wanted to have a final run that before I built all the other 31 freaking architectures. So yeah, that's basically hanging out with some German liquid after work, talking about the state of IT and failed mega projects. For that money you get nearly an airport. This is absolutely crazy, right? Can you imagine spending $500 million for a failed IT project migration stuff for which you could already like $500 million? Other people develop a freaking for this. For $500 million you can develop a high performance RISC-V microprocessor. Like probably competitive to Zen 1 or something. I mean, I'm not saying you develop for $500 million, you probably don't develop a from get-go competitive to Zen 4, but hey, for $500 million with some competitive with some talented team, I'm pretty sure you can pull off a Zen 1 or faster level RISC-V and big mega corporations. Like how this is mind blowing. The more I think about this, it is crazy. It is as crazy as running SpaceX UI apparently with Chromium on JavaScript, right? Actually, fact check that. Which is, yeah, fact check. Allegedly, SpaceX Dragon Launch brings JavaScript to space, leveraging Chromium and JavaScript, significant portion of the user interface rather than web technologies. Yeah, I mean, at least it didn't cost them a thing, right? They could just take some JavaScript frameworks and freaking Google Chromium, and they have there, and they could hire some web responsive, state-of-the-art web developers, students at minimum wage. Actually, I heard that Tesla and SpaceX also even got a lot of students working for free. I think there were some government projects. Currently seeking top talent to join our intern program. Unparalleled opportunity to play a direct role. I read in some German newspapers some years ago that they got a lot of free people working for them at times at government subsidies. I mean, no, I don't why easily even remember this freaking decision once and for all. I probably need to, is there a freaking privacy setting to never like, and the worst thing, speaking of bad software, like every customer of us begging us for other software from us, the worst technology is this bloody notification here, the bloody location usage, and freaking notifications, right? So often I operate my browser fast, and every month I manage to hit at least one bloody notification thing, right? You click there somewhere, and then some bloody pop-up of allow applications like once a week or once a month I manage to hit this bloody allow the bloody freaking website, and then days later I regret that I get effing notification. Like who wants, like erase your freaking finger. Who freaking wants notifications? Like what is even the freaking use case? I don't want freaking notifications for freaking effing news sites. It's like you, what is wrong with freaking, like best on your Apple Watch, right? That you can completely not concentrate anymore. It's like your freaking favorite website posted a freaking article. Thank you very much. Also I mistyped free pro tip. Yeah, government subsidies. SpaceX got a whopping 2.8 billion government contracts last year, according to Wow. I also need a SpaceX. Like I need to fund, and that is the crazy stuff, right? Getting this bloody government. Even Linus Tech Tips, I'm pretty sure Linus Sebastian once mentioned they got, at least in the early days. I don't know if they recurrently, but when Linus Tech Tips were smaller, I'm pretty sure. Remember he mentioned a couple of times they get some government funding for underdeveloped or British Columbia news media, whatever development. And like my company, okay, that is wrong. I can't say we got no. Actually, when we found out, okay, we got a tiny little bit. How much was it probably? Like we maybe got with the partner I funded the company with, which is no longer here anymore. We got, how long was it? 1.5 years? Was it? Actually, okay, we got some 15,000 euro maybe of funding. It's like, yeah, but the crazy stuff is this government funding. The crazy stuff is government funding. Over the years, a couple of times I looked into this. But for small companies, it's like nearly impossible, right? This government subsidy programs, maybe especially in Germany, but maybe in the US or Canada, are mostly for big mega corporations, right? Highly competitive, unfair, that those big mega corporations who need subsidies the least get the most, and the small couple of employee companies struggle to get even one effing, okay, I should struggle to get a second raising, was it? Yeah, throwing the stones when we got the lousy 15,000 euro in 2006. Something of that sort, plus minus. Your mileage may vary. Cheers. Can't remember each cent scrolling by. So yeah, stuff is building. No surprise there. That's basically it. If you have amazing input to those, and as per usual, random brainstorming at night. Some people tune in, which is amazing. So 1 hour live stream is probably enough. I should probably finally home and get some sleep after all this sleepless nights of getting stuff to build and even profiling some stuff for fun, like new smart profiles, smart profile guided profiling profiles in T2 for GTK and stuff. There are some comments in the meantime. I probably should. Yeah, the problems is, oops, that is also the wrong focus. Of course, it was the wrong focus. Wrong focus. Yeah, why do I use spray if I can't? Oh, no, this is a bug. Why is... no, what? What? This... What? This is why. I operated my Firefox browser full screen wrong. Fendrick says SAP was their way into IT. Happy to hear that. Hope you make good money with this expensive stuff. Friend had a course on SAP and only heard only bad things about it. Linux guy. Duck there, you could build an AGI with that kind of money and make a program AI, so software. Yeah, making AGI, you mean general artificial, because is it not G? General artificial general intelligence, is it called? Is that abbreviated AGI? Artificial general intelligence, okay. I usually said general artificial intelligence. AGI, so yeah, building an AGI is not that easy. I'm not sure, so you for sure can, with 500 million, probably a late comment or reply to the 500 million. You probably can't build an AGI with that. You can probably build somewhat decent AI, but not AGI. AGI is really difficult, and so John Carmack also moved into that apparently, because books after 3D games. And by the way, I read, maybe I should, we could talk book review. I recently, my best friend gifted me to my last birthday this book about id Software, Masters of Doom. Pretty interesting book, which a lot of things I didn't even know. Although I knew Wolfenstein 3D, but I never I saw it when it was newish in the 90s, but I was obviously too young for this game, and I was not in shooting. This was a little bit strange violence to me. Then of course, I liked Doom and Quake more because, I mean, obviously the Doom and Quake graphic was better, and it was also less obscene, if that makes sense. It was like more artificial monsters, and obviously shooting Nazis is good, but maybe it's yeah, whatever. But so basically, probably even most people in the United States didn't get what was going on at id Software. I totally didn't know how id Software developed. So all of that was new in this book. And reading about John, this is also, by the way, going full circle. It's actually not that random rambling now. Reading about John Carmack and John Romero, I have to say, I never lived like that. I worked a lot and I coded all day long, but at least from reading the book, I think their life and coding was more chaotic and more chaotic and dirty, or chaotic and does aggressive make sense? Or chaotic and violent in destroying things and keyboards. Although I recently smashed, the difference is my keyboards are too precious to only symbolically slam them into my face with bad code and not really break them at id Software. And I mean, I lived in shady conditions, with coal heating as a student in Berlin. My first own apartment in Berlin was thankfully still so cheap, which obviously you don't get such things in Berlin now anymore. 20 years ago, and it's totally unthinkable for West German kind of sort of to have coal heating in the freaking 2000s. But hey, it was dirt cheap. But that still sounds better than what it sounds in the Masters of Doom book, how John Carmack and John Romero were living. And also from at least the outside spirit of the book, of not being with their kids and getting divorced. I would not even, and also separating with their business partner, the two Johns at id Software, does not even sound the most happy, right? Imagine I didn't know all of this. I'm not in following celebrity stuff that much, even when they are programmers. But that doesn't even sound the most fulfilling or happy, right? And this is what does $1 million and driving a Ferrari give you when at the end of the day you divorce and don't see your kids and destroy all your programming and gaming relations, creative relations with your business partner, which you created all this state-of-the-art breaking PC games with. But this probably often comes with success, right? Just look how crazy Elon Musk went. And from that point, probably John Carmack and John Romero do not, at least from this summary of the book, do not, or at least how they appear on the internet, are more down to real life now than other lunatics like Elon Musk are these days. So much to, not everyone can become a millionaire, billionaire, or most of them are then not even happy, divorced, not seeing their kids, and sitting alone in their Ferrari. Yeah, stuff is building, that is good. We are mostly through with reflecting about life and discussing the next big things. So it is basically closing the full circle, why I need to really think twice if I really want to implement my WPO there, award-winning microkernel. Better do something more successful. So where am I stuck here with the commons? Friend, so more SAP, friend tried SAP, Java stuff, and it was hard. Yeah, it must be. I mean, if the experts, like imagine if the SAP consultants cannot for $500 million get this shit running, then it must be really bad software, right? You get all the good open source stuff you get for free, but for non-working, non-functional, hardest to use and complete, according to news articles, apparently allegedly garbage software, need to be careful not getting sued here by SAP. For that you can spend $500 million and then have the shit not working. Would you recommend, so Commons, half an hour ago, Commons, would you recommend first year CS student to already spend much time with learning low-level programming, good understanding high-level language like Java? It depends what you want to do, but if you want to do high-level software, then it's maybe not worth it, but I would otherwise recommend it's always worth it to have some low-level. I think the problem with many high-level programmers is that they often write not very well performing or otherwise suboptimal software because they often lack a understanding. More and more people lack an actually understanding how computers work inside. I hear so many horror stories of new youngsters and stuff and students growing up with the iPhone and iPad generation and not even understanding files anymore. That is truly horrible. But if people already don't get files and stuff, then the next generation not understanding. Well, there will always be some people understanding the inner workings, but if the general population, like if smart devices dumbed people down so much that they can't walk anymore without an Apple Watch telling them to stand up and freaking walk, or what else do I want to say? All right, what freaking files and how to manage and move files, like and they need a freaking app to freaking extract or send a freaking file from their bloody phones and from their bloody computers, and yeah. Comment there, just spend your time doing, learn as little and what little as possible and do as much as possible. I'm not sure if that's the best recommendation. I probably should have spent, because actually my recommendation for university would be the exact opposite. Try as much time, like when you have the time, when you're young, and do not yet work as much, or at least have some sort of chance to have time to learn. Maximize learning, because you will always do a lot, and there's only so much time to actually learn real theory, and most people neglect theory too much. You can, all the award-winning stuff, all the Nobel Prize stuff and real advancements in computer science or other fields, physics and chemistry and stuff, are by people who truly understand the theories and not like graph theory and neural networks and stuff. Like, if you want to make real breakthroughs with AGI and so on, then you need to understand the theory. I mean, sure, one can always be that lucky snowflake who discovers something by pure chance and stuff and practical random trying, but I would still say most significant advancements in science are made by people who truly study, like who learn. Like you do, like of course do, but do learn. And in your job, you will learn less and only be asked to, like no boss will ever, or like, okay, there might be outstanding bosses, or like more the culture in Europe compared to America, where you are at good companies who take care of the employees, where you get time, or even in Germany, government programs or other subsidized programs to learn, but that are probably more the exceptions. So do learn as much when you can, because otherwise you will only do. And probably I have done too much, like open source. I probably in university should have actually learned. I mean, I learned a lot, but I could have learned even more if I would have focused more on theory and not on like running a freaking, like too much open source. So like, yeah, let's go to the last comments and then call it a day. We are, how far are we in here? We still have some people watching, so that is always amazing. 1 hour 10, so let's check the last comments, which some accumulated here. There was that the problem is, as you know from other YouTubers, that this stuff jumps annoyingly and then scrolling back and forth. Learn assembly, courses, computer architecture, and so on, helpful understanding low-level stuff, Python, JavaScript. Lot of pros that, but when what I hear a lot of pros say that, but when do I start? Where do I start? Did a lot of projects on the high application layer, but I'm interested in OS. Like, I mean, you can learn in your free time, right? Like, I usually recommend learn what you're interested in. Like, if you're interested in how in CPU work, then like start with some Wikipedia article and then some, like, if you're interested, look for some good books or whatever, or web these days. But my general recommendation, because it's always the most fun, and I see most people make most progress when they learn something what they're interested in. Was looking ARM 64 assembly last days, but I think I'm not really learning it efficiently because I don't know what to do with assembly. So I mean, understanding, I mean, for assembler, a general understanding of it is kinda sorta enough. There's one good new book that I'm not affiliated with, the Blue Fox or whatever. Yeah, this one, ARM Assembly, Internals and Reverse Engineering. I didn't read this book fully. I ordered that recently at the full price for our office library because we're a proper company and not like Twitter or so where they throw people out of the apartment and give them nothing. So this book is pretty good, and you don't need, I mean, if you want, I would say, I mean, it makes no sense to write general applications. Like, either for assembly, try to understand how it works. That is kind of sort of enough. It's not like, nowadays you more debug with that, like performance, like understand, like maybe write in Hello World and try to understand the compiler assembly fully. Or if you want to write some code, write some image or audio processing code, like where it makes sense. The only area where it makes sense to write assembly code is like 3D image, audio, neural networks, and such stuff. So yeah, something of that. But otherwise, like, or like look into understanding how operating system internals work in assembly or so on. It's, I mean, obviously normal for 99.99, like 99.9% of code, nobody writes assembly anymore. Like, you need to understand that if you want to write an operating system, and like even then you write high-level C or Rust code, or C++ or stuff, and you need to debug something while it doesn't work. So then you need to understand it, but like you still write C, C++, Rust, Swift, Go, Swig, Nim, and so on. Risk assembly is hard, very friendly. No, I don't really agree. No, risk assembly is, I wouldn't agree to that. And actually x86 is freaking annoying. I would, nobody, like, don't learn x86 unless you need, like, learn, maybe, like, actually nowadays I would recommend, like, just learn RISC-V. That is the future. Otherwise, if you want to learn something popular, learn ARM, or if you want to learn otherwise, lots of old university stuff uses MIPS, but that's of course on the way out. But yeah, RISC-V, ARM, MIPS, yeah, x86, but x86 is so convoluted and annoying. x86 is not really good, like x86 is not really the future, so like if you want to learn something, probably you get more out of some RISC architecture. Tropics, right? Also, there's Jefferson McGee, John Romero and John Carmack are in better terms. Yeah, I understood they kind of made up and more okay. But I mean, from the book, I mean, I'm obviously more the John Carmack kind of guy. And it's honestly to talk one more sentence about the Masters of Doom book, which I can also not affiliate and don't get. You can use the Amazon affiliate links below though to navigate to that though. It's just that I got it. I mean, I didn't even look at it. I got it for the birthday, right, from my best friend. So, not a paid advertisement, I want to say. Masters Doom. That is that book here. And what I want, right. So the atmosphere that I get from this book of the early id Software days, early and later and stuff in Doom and Quake, is the atmosphere that was at the Chaos Computer Congress in Berlin here 10 years ago when I attended there a couple of times. And even the crazy thing is, and that is also between like my best friend and I, when we were like 14, 15, and we were writing DOS stuff in assembler, and even we tried to do some demo stuff and so on, and then even an operating system. Like, we were never as chaotic and as id Software. And like, I would completely freak out if I'd be more John Carmack guy and I write all the engine stuff and math and 3D and so on, and there's so much chaos and destruction going on, and also like people not focusing. I mean, okay, you could say I'm also not focusing, wasting my time with my unsuccessful Linux distribution, but like I'm not like playing. In the book, it sounded really like John Carmack, John Romero really played a lot. I mean, obviously, if you write games, you need to play them, and you even, I mean, that's the crazy stuff, right? You need to play your games in your own company. That sounds like a dream job, except if you work day and night and need to get the ship working and stuff, it's not like also you do overtime and work weekends and so on, and you have annoying bosses and stuff, then it's also not your dream job anymore. People are saying, hey, it's a dream job, right? Like, sure, Linux distribution can be the dream job, except when it doesn't pay well and stuff and everything's breaking. So, from the book, I get a little bit, it looked to me, obviously I don't know them personally and stuff, but it's only a book impression that John Romero sounded awfully addicted to gaming, and allegedly, according to the book description, spent really an effing amount of time just gaming and bragging about it and stuff. And that is certainly freaking not productive. So, yeah, that is. But certainly similar to, I mean, you could even say, also being self-reflective, a little bit similar to my own open source addiction, right? Of really currently spending my lifetime maintaining this stuff when it doesn't even bring much money. But it's crazy that how much they could have been so much more successful. I mean, maybe it is for the better for them to be more happy in life potentially, although John Carmack also got divorced later. That is a question, right? Maybe for John Carmack, maybe John Carmack is more happy in life with his rocket startup and then his virtual reality headset stuff at Facebook, or Oculus Rift and later Facebook, where he left, and now doing AGI, artificial general intelligence. Maybe he would never get to having fun with rockets. Virtual reality headset is not that far off, or now doing general artificial intelligence. But on the other hand, if they would have focused and they wouldn't have been so trashy in the early id days, maybe they would be as big as Sony or Microsoft now, right? The question is, of course, always, I mean, they're certainly very successful enough. despite some areas in this book sound a little bit unhappy and divorced and not seeing the kids and stuff. That is always, yeah, running a company and being successful is challenging. So they could, I mean, if they would have, I mean, they are truly, I mean, that is the crazy stuff, right? They are extremely successful. They were and are extremely successful. It is, but if they got the act, but I mean, yeah, addiction, right? Whether it's drugs or addicted to games, addiction, like our open source stuff here, is a real challenge. It is also crazy how, but they also see how addicted John Romero probably was to gaming and not focusing on getting stuff done. How unsuccessful his later company was, right, that he founded with venture capital money or so after leaving id Software. So, and if it didn't happen like that and they got the act more together and being more productive and not as chaotic and stuff, maybe they would be a multi-billion-dollar company. Also, John, in this book, it sounds like John Carmack also never wanted this, right? Was it? I think John Romero always wanted to grow the company more, and John Carmack, or was it the other way around? Can't remember each detail. But yeah, at least one of them didn't want. Was it John Carmack? John Carmack? I hope I pronounced him right. The thing is, I often don't say. I think that YouTube just Carmack. Did I probably? Whatever. There truly might be Firefox release, isn't there? I mean, sure, they are successful enough, but they could be more successful. I mean, obviously, but that is also life, and with that, other people filled that and continue to have more successful game studios than after them. So, one quick look, the recurring theme here, one quick look. But I mean, actually, okay, no, we need to download. Yeah, no, I'm not testing this today. Also, we have the amazing stuff is that's also I should more. Yeah, so long story short, I should experiment now that I have a working Linux distribution again. With most of the desktop stuff, I can finally innovate more, experiment with more things, with hopefully more amazing things. Oh, by the way, some viewer, I still need to. Amazing things. Where did I put it? Here. Some viewers sent also some. Like experimenting with amazing things. Actually, viewers, and I still need to thank him. Thank you. I actually don't even have time. Is it called Mango Pie, right? So yeah, thank you. If you see this video, thanks for that viewer donation. Highly appreciated. How much of my? Oops. Didn't even. I only unpacked it and briefly looked. This is RISC-V, 64-bit RISC-V SPC. Like Raspberry Pi Zero. So yeah, highly appreciated. You know who you are here from Germany. So yeah, let's soon have some fun with that. And yeah, if you have some stuff and want to send it in, be my guest. Maybe check for before you send an IBM RS6000, PDP-11 or DEC Alpha and stuff. Check office hours and the availability. Or whether I even have a high power connector, which we don't. So no PDP-11 in the office and no SUSE Set 3. But yeah, otherwise. So yeah, amazing stuff coming, and Anton writes. x86 dead. It's true. I mean, it's not dead, right? It will not be dead. People always segregate so much. It's not dead yet. It's just not the future. I mean, of course, like if you are a game developer between the PS5, Xbox and Steam Deck and stuff and PC games, it's of course x86, but it's not dead yet. It's just super annoying. Like it's obviously one of the most complex instructions, that's right. If you want to get started, do RISC-V, it's so simple. And from that you have a much more modern and simplified view and probably easier to goes back to other crazy complex instructions architectures. So yeah, trap exit, regular interviews, young folks know next to nothing particular, no file system, shells, register is, cache or memory, how it works, it's bad. Yeah, that sounds bad. I mean, if you're an IT, I would actually say everyone, and that is also the thing, right? I mean, I'm not expecting everyone to be able to write assembler, but in my opinion, even if you write high-level stuff, like even websites and stuff, you should have a general understanding how a freaking central processing unit works. Like you should have some overall system architecture understanding and know what a register, like the overall function of a processor, and even like, yeah, what a register is. And I don't expect every Java and JavaScript programmer to, or like Go or Rust programmer to know that, but I mean, you can write code or hypertext markup language, but I mean, I would claim you generally write verse code, and especially like, and that's probably also why everything becomes so effing slow, right? Try to, like, even from my in the meantime, my last Retina MacBook Pro from, I don't know, 2013 or whatever, 8 years or whatever, maybe even 9 years in the meantime, try to load try to book a freaking flight with this old piece of shit with Intel Core i7 3000 or whatever, 16 gigs of memory or whatever that was. Basically a big spec back in the day, 8 or 9 years ago, and like it's coming to a crawl and being annoying to use to just look something up on it. Like sure, I mean, you can still read the Wikipedia but like, yeah, try a modern, dynamic, responsive website thing with the latest and greatest Java and whatnot, client side, everything, and you feel the pain. And I mean, it's freaking crazy, right? That sure, it's vintage. Even that is vintage, 8 or 9 years later. But I mean, 8 or 9 years later, that was top of the line, and now you can barely book a flight without getting crazy. Anton writes, assembler is. Okay, Emin says, thanks, inspiring, following since last year. That is amazing. Hope you learned something. Anton writes, assembler is important because it's hard to learn. So see that registers do exist in stack function calls. Actually, I mean, I would not say that everyone. I mean, sure, if you study computer science, I would say you should have one course of assembly, but I wouldn't expect everyone to be fluent. And I mean, you can, if you are not a computer scientist, like if you're only some self-taught, normal high-level programmer or so, I would say knowing the general concept is enough. I wouldn't I mean, like normal web developer who just does JavaScript and CSS and so on, or in the end only uses glorified modern frameworks anyway. I think knowing the overall concept is enough, but they should have, probably if you ask web developers, a huge percentage have never heard about this, which obviously is crazy. Like you should at least be able to articulate some general approximate overall, like a freaking car, what a freaking engine and gearbox, or like nowadays electrons in an electric motor and acceleration pedal and stuff, brakes, and like otherwise it's like an electrician who doesn't know electrician, right? And it's like, sure, an electrician, like a hobby electrician, can change a light bulb probably, hopefully without electrocuting them, but like you cannot claim to be an electrician if you don't know about electrons and just like, hey, attach the blue wire to the blue wire, and if there's not a blue wire, then I ask my colleague to. It's like, yeah. then you're not an electrician, then you're a light bulb installer, if that makes some sort of sense. But yeah, I wouldn't expect, I mean, yeah, to write all of, or even understand all quirks of assembly. But I mean, I would also agree that, I mean, normal, and that is the stuff, right, that all this smart stuff dumps people so much down. I would actually expect, of course, not every person on the planet doesn't need to understand what a file is, but I would say every like professional office worker, like even if you work in a law office or a medical office, like I find it absolutely mind-blowing and obscene and like ridiculous and simply wrong in society that, I mean, it's not that much to ask to know like what a freaking file in a computer is. Like literally everything nowadays, whether it's medical, law, banking, housing management, facility management, and stuff like if so, like it's crazy that regular office employees at times don't know anymore. Like previously it was the old generation who knew a typewriter and didn't know what a computer and a file is, and now it's the young generation who does social media or stuff all they plays on the phone, but now the young generation doesn't know what a freaking file is anymore. It's like there's also a limit of stupidity, and sure, not everyone needs to know that, but I would say, like, if you work professionally in anything that regularly works with some kind of computerized devices, you should have some basic understanding of files and surrounding concepts of maybe file server, like you can exchange files and stuff, and not like everything is magic and an app does something magically, which probably is a new. Anyway, we talked so long as usually. Probably I should not have looked at the comments always. Anyway, I need to go. Anton used to write assembly insertions in C++ code in programming classes. Also a very good way to learn assembly. Web developers do not understand file system. Most XTC writes, most web developers do not understand how file system permissions work. Yeah, I mean, that is also a thing. Obviously, I'm not even an Active Directory expert because I hate Windows, but I would also say, I mean, so often when I get in contact with normal people, like in normal offices daily, related to my professional work, that normal people don't even think about the error messages. They just say, it doesn't work. It's like, yeah, and what does the error message say? It's like, permission denied? It's like, yeah, and like maybe have you checked that you have permissions to save the files there or so? It's like you, just like why do we talk about this? It's like, it's obviously not our software problem if you don't have permissions to save your files somewhere. It's like, have you? And I don't know, it is what it is. So that's it for this video. We in this video have compiled as usual most of the Linux distribution. It's actually freaking thread ripping fast now. We're mostly through, so in basically 1 hour, and do even am live, I actually say 1 hour 30. So yeah, in still 2 hours. Yeah, I mean, despite all the growing bloat and stuff and optimizations, that means on the 1750X with our increased package selection, Firefox, more Rust. Yeah, Rust and Go. Probably should have Go, right? Although Go is tiny and builds fast. Let's quickly. Yeah, Go. Yeah, 2 hours. I mean, and that even includes updating Firefox, which actually we could commit. So at least you get one more subversion commit out of this live stream. Take care, everyone. I hope you enjoyed to learn something. As always, if you watch this later and have comments to add, I usually try to read them and reply at times. Or if you have amazing business tips, how to easily become millionaire with this simple software sales tricks, leave us in the comments below. Otherwise, have a good day and night, and I hope to see you soon for our next fun program, and hopefully from now on not as random package updates anymore, because it's done. We have it freaking mostly working TM. Cheers. See you next time.